morning is 7:03 on this Monday, June 1st. It's time to head to Studio B for Coleman and Company.
Hello, everybody. The sun is shining on a Monday morning, the first day of June, and I wish I could say all's right with the world, but weather-wise, it couldn't be a lot better, I guess. We are on the air for Absolute Kubota, as we are each Monday at this time, and glad to have Don Hamlet with us this morning. Don, say hello to everybody.
Good morning, everybody.
And how are you?
I'm awesome.
Good.
Ready to go.
We do start every Monday morning off with a representative from Absolute Kubota. Absolute Kubota specializes in the sale of Kubota tractors, hay equipment, zero-turn mowers, and RTVs. And they also carry Exmark mowers. Exmark is one of the top-selling zero-turn mowers in the country. Now, Absolute Kubota is located in the same building as Absolute Rental and Supply, which specializes in tool and equipment rental. Again, Don Hamlet, who's in sales, is with us today from Absolute Kubota. Open Monday through Friday, 7 to 6, 7 to 4 on Saturdays, and they're located at 1325 West Main in Lebanon, behind Advance Auto Parts. Just look for their big sign. Look for the orange tractors. Their phone number, 615-449-6171, and the website is www.absolutekubota.com. They also would invite you to check them out on Facebook. Well, it's been a month since we've seen you. Really.
Did you miss me, Coleman?
Of course.
Okay.
But between the two of you, I think you've got it. I think that they're doing it right here. You're both in sales. You both know what you're talking about. The way you conduct yourselves here is similar, but not just alike. But you're not clones.
No, we're different. We're different.
But each in sales, you know your product, and you enjoy helping people and matching their needs with the right piece of equipment or whatever it is they're buying.
That's our goal.
Yeah.
That is always our goal. And right now, I know we're right in the middle of hay cutting season. And, we want everybody to know that Kubota did purchase Vicon disc mowers and their equipment. That is under now. It's just been painted orange and looks exactly almost the same. There's been a few improvements. So if you're out there and you're cutting and you need some pieces or parts for your Vicon mower, your Kubota disc mower, we do carry those. Lance will be glad to get you fixed up back in our parts department. If you're needing a new disc mower, rake, tedder, baler, come in, holler at us. See Jonathan. He's normally our hay specialist. We have some different areas both of us kind of take over and everything. He's kind of the hay specialist there. And,
traveling the countryside a little this weekend, I saw a lot of hay being cut.
Heck yeah, it's the time, and we've had plenty of rain, and I think the weather's been good for it and everything. I've noticed out here, probably won't be long, somebody will be out here cutting y'all's fields around the building here.
So, right.
Yeah, so, but, everything is going good.
I think that it might be a week or two later this year because
Maybe.
we had the colder weather there, and the grass and all didn't grow as much as it might have had it been a little bit warmer in April and early May.
That's probably true.
It is hay cutting time, and you got just about. I guess you got everything you could want.
Oh yeah,
do that.
Everything's there, and I know our parts department have plenty of parts, and everything. That's all there. Our service department's ready to answer any questions or take care of any problems you might have been having. I know Kubota right now has got lots of good rebates on their tractors and great financing, no payment for 90 days, because of the COVID situation. We've got lawnmowers to cut your grass. We've got everything from the person that owns a half-acre piece of property to the guy that, bless his heart, the single guy that cuts 12, 15 acres a week, We've got mowers to take care of all of those. We've got all the parts and pieces that you'll need to maintain those pieces of equipment. It's in stock, ready to go.
Let me ask you,
sure.
Don, what do you probably sell more of? Maybe do you sell a little bit different than Jonathan?
Only in the hay equipment.
Oh, okay.
Only in the hay equipment.
But what is the thing you would sell most in a week's time? It would be lawnmowers.
Yeah, lawnmowers. Okay. Just because of I think the price point, and almost everybody needs a lawnmower unless you live in a community or apartment complex. So everybody needs a lawnmower. Everybody doesn't need a tractor. I think a lot of guys want tractors. And that's okay. But I think, lawnmowers are probably our biggest sellers. And then getting into the small tractors, anything from the BXs up through the Ls, Kubota is the number one selling tractor in the U.S. under 40 horsepower and has been for a couple of decades now.
Kubota has come a long way since they came here.
They're a great company. I think they're, the way they do their equipment is built and their warranties. I mean, a Kubota tractor or smaller tractors are going to have 2-year bumper-to-bumper warranty and then 6 years on the drivetrain. I mean, that's a long time to stand behind something.
Well, they got to make it pretty good. They couldn't make it.
It'd be a nightmare for them if they didn't, but they do. They make great equipment. Me and Jonathan always say that selling Kubota and Exmark and Land Pride is for us, from a salesman standpoint, is easy because they're good equipment. They have good long warranties. They take care of it. They stand behind it. It's just good equipment and easy to sell.
Well, it's really good too that you have a great parts and repair department.
Oh yeah.
I think that's very important because anything is going to break down every once in a while or sometime.
Especially as much as like you think of our commercial landscape guys, it's nothing for them to put 600 or 700 hours a year on one piece of equipment. And believe you me, that is a lot for a lawnmower. There'll be people that own a lawnmower for 15 years and won't put 500 hours on it. So I mean, and you take an Exmark, a Laser X lawnmower, it has a 5-year or 1,500 hour warranty on it. First 2 years unlimited. So, I mean, it's good equipment, good stuff.
Well, they do have a lot going for them at Absolute Kubota and great hours to serve you as well. And Jonathan Manning and Don Hamlet are in sales there. And Don, of course, with us this morning. I guess you've got it for the month of June.
It'll be me. It'll be me. I'll see you next Monday, Coleman.
Have a good week.
You too.
All right. We are 10 minutes after the hour, and I'm going to go to the telephone here now. And Representative Susan Lynn, I hope you're there this morning. Good morning.
I am. Hello. How are you, Coleman?
I'm doing well. It is good to have you. And let me explain. We did not do a program last week because it was Memorial Day. We had the day off. And if we had been doing one, it would have been your turn last week. But since we didn't, you're with us today. And we're surely glad to hear from you. I know that a lot has been going on at the Legislative Plaza this last week. I think some committees meeting and organizing, getting ready for what is going to start today. That's my understanding. Am I right?
That's right. So all of the members have to come back today. We have session this evening at 5 o'clock. So all of the members come back today. And last week, we just had some committees meeting so that some bills could be run and advance, so that they can either be passed on the floor tonight or heard in a full committee this week. So lots of subcommittees meeting last week. And I was really honored. I had to run 2 bills last week, and one was the governor's pro-life bill. And I'm running that legislation for him, and it advanced, and I'm very pleased about that. And so this week it'll be in full committee. And then the other bill was for the state treasurer, and it will just change the way that they're allowed to invest the funds for the chairs of excellence. And they'll still invest them in the same types of products that the TCRS is invested in, but their allocations will just be adjusted so that they don't have to use the exact same allocations as the TCRS. So those 2 bills advanced, and then, of course, we were working on the budget, and I think we made really good progress. We have a good structure and framework, and now it's just really a matter of pounding out finer details.
I think there's been a little bit of difference of opinion between the House and the Senate, from what I've heard, in that you wanted to maybe pass some bills and stay there a little bit longer, that the Senate was not into that as much, and I guess it's the leadership of the 2 houses who will determine this. But at this point, what does it look like to you? Are we going to have a couple of weeks or something, or is this going to wrap up in a hurry?
Well, I hope we do have a couple of weeks, because the May numbers come in on June 15th, and we'd all like to see what those numbers are going to be. And I completely understand the Senate with their apprehension. when you look at it, 35% of the Senate is over 60 years old. And they are, naturally worried about being susceptible to the COVID-19 virus. That is a susceptible age group. So I do get that. However, in the House, what we very much feel that our constituents are counting on us advancing and passing certain legislation. And I know that I have always sort of bragged to my district that you look at Washington, D.C., the mess that they are. If you wanted to get something changed, it would take you years and years. And literally, we can come up with there's been times I have had a constituent call me about an idea. On the day we started sessions, I had a bill drafted, and it was passed in just a few weeks and became law. And I'm so proud of that. And like I said, constituents are really hoping that we can pass certain legislation. And so in the House, we do feel a responsibility to do that and get that done. We had to leave quickly, and we have a lot of unfinished work, so we want to do that.
Okay, we're going to go to a break in just a moment, but let me ask you this. You mentioned something about June the 15th. What is the figure, or what is it that is going to be available then that would be helpful to you?
So tax reports.
Okay.
Right, so we'd like to see those tax reports and how they're doing.
And find out that would be the latest information available. It would come that day, and then you would could have a better idea of where we are if we wait until then to before you leave town.
Exactly.
Okay. All right. We'll take a break right here. State Representative Susan Lynn is with us, and we'll continue in a moment on Coleman and Company, FM 98.9.
And it's now 7:16. Let's see what's happening on the roadways. I want to thank Bates Ford and the Works Vehicle Checkup. They have 5 quarts of oil, tax and disposal, tire rotation, and safety check. They'll make sure your vehicle is ready for any road. 1673 West Main. Now at traffic, here's Chuck.
Good morning. The big story remains this nasty crash out in Rutherford County. As we continue to look at it live here, the reroute traffic on 24 westbound onto 840. Again, that's 24 westbound at 840 in Rutherford County, Murfreesboro area. 24 eastbound just past Haywood Lane on a crash. Briley Parkway at McGavick Pike. That wreck is in its clearing stages. Prince's Hot Chicken is the original hot chicken in Middle Tennessee. Check them out, princeshotchicken.com. I'm Commander Chuck. You're on time traffic.
Do you know why Rocky Williams Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram in Mount Juliet sells so many cars, trucks, SUVs, and muscle cars? Well, it all starts with a simple idea. Why not give everyone a hassle-free shopping experience for their new or used vehicle with no haggling, no negotiating, and no runaround? Every vehicle on the Rocky Williams lot is marked down incredibly low with the price posted on the window. You're treated with fairness and respect every time. No pressure, just a friendly, warm, inviting staff dedicated to finding the exact vehicle you need. So Rocky Williams Premier Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram has become the original no-haggle, one-price dealer. Go online to rockywilliams.com to see the incredible deals yourself. Every car and truck is listed with a no-haggle low price. This is for real, and you're gonna love it. People drive for miles to get some of the lowest prices in America on their new or used cars or trucks. Go to rockywilliams.com or come on over to our brand new spacious dealership next to Walmart in Mount Juliet.
You make plans for just about everything for the weekend, for a shopping trip, for your daughter's wedding, but do you have a financial strategy for the rest of your life? Now may be the perfect time to do it. Waypoint, your future, your way. For more information, call the Lebanon office of Waypoint Financial Partners at 615-444-6548. Securities and investment advisory services offered through AXA Advisors, LLC. 212-314-4600. Member FINRA SIPC. Coleman and Company, thanks for joining us here on this Monday morning. State Representative Susan Lynn is with us. I mentioned earlier, you're chairman of the Finance Committee in the House, which is a prestigious committee. There's a lot of responsibility there, of course, but it is something that I think you're very happy to position. You're happy to have, and certainly a lot of responsibility for you there, right?
Oh, indeed, a lot of responsibility, and I take it very seriously, and I'll work hard. I really try to take a Knights of the Round Table approach with my committee leadership, and we look at the legislation that is costs money and pending behind the budget, and we talk it out and reason it out, and then once we come to some conclusions, I take that list to the speaker and I go over it with the speaker, and he and I talk further, and we kind of make final selections. But this year, there's not too many final selections. We just don't have the revenue. But I can tell the listeners this, and the House is committed, and the governor is committed. I'm very happy that schools, there's going to be a lot of budget cuts, but the BEP will not see any budget cut. In fact, the BEP will receive more money than it did last year, which means that Wilson County schools will receive more money than they did last year. And that is something we're determined to make happen.
Well, I bet you there's a lot of school people who are glad to hear that.
I'm sure, yeah.
In what areas do you anticipate the most severe cuts to be made?
Well, here's what, when we met a few weeks ago, we talked about the many different things that Governor Bredesen did when he had to make severe cuts. And along with probably doing employee buyouts, early retirement or retirement, and some people who are eligible buy them out and encourage them to go ahead and retire. Along with doing that, the governor had weeks ago asked the state departments to cut their spending back by 4%. And I was worried that 4% did not seem like enough, but that was his number. And just this week, he asked them to cut their spending back by 12%. Now, that does not mean all spending. It does not mean all spending. There's certain areas where we don't touch, such as education and the BEP that won't be touched. Certain 10 care funds, they're matching dollars. We have to match those federal gut dollars. That will not be cut. But there's other areas where the commissioners themselves are deciding what they will cut. Mm-hmm. And when they make their list and their final selections, they'll bring that to us. And then they'll give us their reasoning, they'll explain it, and we'll either say, yay or nay, or, that maybe that's a good idea, maybe that's a bad idea, like that. And that's really, the most efficient way to do it, because those commissioners operate their departments on a daily basis, and they know, what they do and how they do it. So for us to just go in there with a scalpel, we could really cause some problems. The best thing to do is have people with experience look at that and bring those suggestions to us. Another thing we'll be doing is using those cuts we're asking the commissioners to find. Also, they have some reversion money. They didn't spend all the money that they were budgeted last year. There's some unfilled positions, so we'll be, of course, utilizing those unfilled positions. But then there's also reserve funds, Coleman. And in a regular year, the reserve funds often bother legislators. They say, look at these reserve funds. There's so much money in reserve. Well, these reserve funds are there to meet some sort of future liability that department might be sued or something, and those reserve funds will be used to defend that lawsuit. You just don't know what might come up. There might be an emergency, some sort of agricultural emergency or something like that. But these reserve funds do build up. Legislators often get mad at them. They want them. They want to pass their legislation. They want to take that money and fund their legislation. Well, at a time like this, you're really thankful for those reserve funds. And those reserve funds never bother me because of a time like this. Mm-hmm. And so when we're in a time like this, we can safely take a certain percentage of those reserve funds and use them for this year's budget. Mm-hmm. We still leave enough so that their future liabilities they might incur this year, if something happens, we leave enough to hopefully take care of that. And, of course, it's all a guess, but it's an educated guess. And so we will be using those reserve funds. Also, we'll be using some funds. The treasurer has a lot of investments. He invests all kinds of funds, retirement funds, insurance funds. The state is self-insured in a lot of areas, and he makes earnings on those funds. So we will be using some of those earnings for this budget this year. And then, of course, we did reserve $350 million when we left a few weeks ago. And we put it into the rainy day fund, brought our rainy day fund up to $1.4 billion. We have that $350 million. We're going to be using that. And so we really think that we can balance this budget and get through. And we don't want to make severe draconian cuts that, the citizens will really notice, because we're also trying to figure out how do we give the citizens confidence, consumer confidence about what's going on. So one thing we're talking about, and there's a difference between the House and the Senate, we would like to still preserve the sales tax holiday that occurs before the children go back to school. It's helpful to parents. It's an encouragement. We'd like to preserve that. And then there's some other ideas we have that we might be able to do with the COVID-19 funds to help businesses recover from this economic, mini disaster that we have going on here, or big disaster that we have going on here.
Okay, let me ask this. Do you mentioned the $350 million that was going to the rainy day fund? You would use that, as I understood what you said, rather than putting it there. But do you anticipate any dipping into the fund that's there, the rainy day fund?
No, it was $1.1 billion, and we will preserve it at $1.1 billion. So we put $350 million when we left a few weeks ago. We just pushed that to the side, and we said we're not going to spend that. We're going to park it in the rainy day fund because we might need it due to this disaster. And as it turns out, we will. We're still pushing over $400 million ahead to the next budget year. We're pushing that ahead. And of course, that's estimated revenue. We feel very safe that that revenue will come in, and that will help us with next year's budget. Because don't forget, right now we have pushed off the franchise and excise tax until July 1, and we won't know what those numbers are until then. We have pushed off the business tax until July 1. We won't know what those numbers are until then. But those numbers are probably going to be good because they are based on 2019 business activity. Next year, at this time, or really in April, we are going to have a hangover from the inactivity that we're experiencing now, because those businesses are going to then be paying their franchise and excise tax and paying their business tax. So we are going to have a hangover next year. So that's why we want to push over $400 million ahead to next year to help with that hangover. All
right, I got your weekly rep here, and there's something here about the constitutional carry legislature that's moved through the first House committee. Talk about that a little bit, how you feel about it and what you think is going to happen.
Oh, I am a supporter of that. It did advance this week, and it should advance advanced last week. It should advance this week. So, we'll just see. And I'll tell you, to talk a little bit about, what is going on. I do not think there's any controversy that that man, Mr. Floyd, was killed by that police officer. I don't think there's controversy there, and unfortunately that police officer does not have a good record. But when you see the other people who are taking advantage, and little reported by the media, I mean, these are outside agitators. This is a group called Antifa that has invaded these protests, these rightful protests of folks who are upset about this brutality, and they're protesting peacefully. But these outside agitators have come in, and they are extremely violent. They are causing a great deal of financial damage. And when you think about people who maybe if they couldn't defend themselves, I saw a tweet last night where they said, it was literally an Antifa tweet that said, "It is time to move into the neighborhoods. So out of the business, it said out of the business community into the neighborhoods. Wow. I
Yeah.
mean, you have to support the Second Amendment. You cannot. I think that the debate over the Second Amendment is over. People have to be able to defend themselves. You have the right to be secure in your home.
Okay, we're in our final minute. Got about a minute left this morning, and if you can take that minute, kind of wrap up today's visit with us. It's really gone by in a hurry.
Oh, it sure has. It's gone by really, really fast. I don't know what to say. We were talking before about our weekends. I know you had a beautiful weekend. I had a beautiful weekend. I think this was one of the nicest springs that I can remember in a long time. And I hope everybody is just still enjoying themselves with their family and staying safe and, not catching a virus or anything, but just enjoying the wonderful weather and getting outside in the sunshine because it's good for you.
Okay, we do thank you for being with us today, and I'll just remind you now we'll anticipate either a call or you present in our studio in 2 weeks. How's that? 2 weeks from today, we'll have you
I will try
again.
to get there.
And you know what? I won't even bother you on the Sunday night before. I'm just going to take it for granted. We'll see you in 2 weeks. How's that?
Well, I kind of like your Sunday night call. I don't know.
Well, okay, if you want me, I don't want to bother you, but I will call and remind you in 2 weeks from last night. Thanks so much, Representative Lynn. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right, that is part one of Coleman & Company. We hope you'll keep it here for more. Part two coming up here on FM 98.9.
And it's now 7:31. Let's see what's happening on the roadways. Want to thank Absolute Kubota and Rental, fully staffed service center and parts department. Most of their minor services can be done the same day. Servicing Exmark, Kubota, Land Pride, Red Max, and Billy Goat, 1325 West Main. Now in traffic, here's Chuck.
Well, good morning. It's still a nightmare in Rutherford County right now as they're still rerouting traffic on 24 westbound here to 840 from this serious crash that happened earlier this morning on 24 westbound, again at 840 in Rutherford County. Dickerson Pike at Rock Street, that's East Nashville on a crash that just occurred. Wrapping up that earlier wreck, 24 eastbound between Haywood Lane and Bell Road. Vote for Dr. Byron Bush, Republican for U.S. Senate. Why? Because it matters. Log on to bushforsenate.com. I'm Commander Chuck with your on-time traffic.
The Pavilion Senior Living residents are inviting you to become their new neighbor. If you're looking for a sign to move, call us at 444-5556 to learn more about the details. Or go to thepavilionseniorliving.com for more information. Or better yet, just drop by 1408 Medical Center Drive right behind Tenova Hospital and see for yourself. You should move here.
To kick off the work week, we'll have very nice weather. Highs today will climb into the low 80s with mostly sunny skies. Tuesday's forecast calls for highs in the mid-80s and plenty of sunshine. By Wednesday, temperatures will be in the upper 80s with more sunshine. On Thursday, temperatures will reach 90 degrees. This weather forecast is brought to you by Walker Auction and Realty, professional auction and real estate services. Get top dollar for your home, land, or personal property. Log on to MikeWalkerAuctions.com. They know auctions. Let's look at your forecast. I'm meteorologist TJ Scott.
Monday morning, we welcome you part to it. We welcome Billy Mullinax to talk about Rocky Williams, Premier Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram of Brown Sugar. Billy, good morning. We're doing well here, and I hope you're doing well in Mount Juliet at 600 Pleasant Grove Road, Rocky Williams.
We are doing well, Coleman.
Yeah.
Business is good, and people are loving our great low, no haggle price.
You got to say it first today.
I did.
You know what? I just was sitting here. It's been 2 weeks since we've seen you.
Yep.
Last week we were not here because of Memorial Day, but you were open that day. Your sales department, pretty good day.
It was a good day.
Yeah,
Very good day, Coleman.
No haggle pricing. Everybody pays the same great low price, and that's really the biggest difference at Rocky Williams Premier, the way you sell. And it's totally different. You've had some people who have imitated you a little bit, but I think you're the real true no haggle pricing place.
Well, Coleman, because we stick to our price of our vehicle, and I'm not saying there's not others that don't stick to it and say, nope, we're not going to discount it. We've discounted it as much as we can. It's a great price. There probably are some out there, but most do not do that. if the customer leaves or says they're going to leave over whatever amount of money it is, typically they start negotiating at that point, and we don't do that, Coleman.
Well, that's just the way it's been for all these years. And you moved, you did so well in Lebanon. You moved to Mount Juliet. Got a great place there with that aquarium that you love.
Yep, it's a beautiful thing, Coleman. And we have people come by. We've been there, of course, a little over 3 years now. We have people come by just to see the aquarium, or bring children by to see it, because you don't see that. Very often. Certainly don't see it in an automotive dealership anywhere around here.
Well, you wanted to be a little different, and you are, and that's sort of your baby. You get to rock it every.
That's
so
exactly
often.
right. There's been some sleepless nights, Coleman, and there's been some nights where I was able to get a full night's sleep. But,
worrying over that aquarium.
Yeah.
Well, anyway,
there's a lot that goes into that, and
there is. It's more than meets the eye, that's for sure.
Yeah, we've got a company that comes in weekly that services that for us and cleans it for us, and people that have had saltwater aquariums know that they can get in a mess in a hurry. A small one can, and you take 3,000 gallons. And it can really get in a mess in a hurry.
You know what? If Rocky Williams is listening this morning, he's probably saying, "What in the world are y'all doing talking about this aquarium? I want you to sell some cars for me."
Well, Rocky's a big fan of the aquarium. It was his dream to have that aquarium in there. That's what he wanted, and that's what he got. And so he's very proud of it. So no, he wouldn't mind us talking about the aquarium this morning, Coleman. I know he wouldn't.
Okay. When did the May month officially end?
Today.
Oh, today
it ends today, Coleman. So all of the OEMs rolled their month over till the 1st of June this time. And so if you've got a trade-in, as we always say, it may be worth just a little bit more today.
Maybe a couple of $100.
Maybe a couple of $100 more. It may be worth a little bit more as we try to wrap things up as good as we possibly can.
Well, you'll be open till when today?
Till 7 o'clock.
7 o'clock. All right. And that's your hour 8 a.m. to 7 p.m. It's been that way for a while.
Yep.
Since we had the COVID-19, all the coronavirus.
That's right.
You cut your hours back, but you anticipate going back to 9 p.m. anytime soon?
Coleman, we're not going to at this point. We may at some point extend our hours a little, but just not sure at this point. Everything's working well, and so there's no reason to add hours if you don't need to.
Okay, let's talk about your inventory for a minute here, because it's always important. People want to know that you pretty much got something they're looking for there. And of course, and the way to start is to go to RockyWilliams.com.
You might see your neighbor there, Coleman.
Yes, sir. RockyWilliams.com, where you do have your entire inventory, the new and pre-owned cars, and the no haggle prices, all right there. Really,
exactly right.
One touch of your on the internet, and it's right there. You don't have to worry about even leaving your name or phone number or anything like that.
That's exactly right. And Coleman, even with the manufacturer being shut down, we still have a great selection. They are back up and open now and producing vehicles, so we'll be seeing some new ones here shortly. But we've still got Coleman about 170 pre-owned vehicles and about 175 new vehicles. So got plenty to choose from, something for everybody, and a price for everybody. If we've got as you
that's
can tell,
about 350.
That's exactly right, yeah. Coleman, and every price range. A lot of times people think that they have to plan on spending $30,000 if they go to a new car dealership, and that's just not the case. So, just go to our website, check out what we've got, and I think you'll be impressed.
Right. RockyWilliams.com. You might see your neighbor there.
That's right.
I'll say it this time. Well, one other thing before you go here. Service after the sale is always very important, and you do have a good service team. So you buy from Rocky Williams, you get served at Rocky Williams.
That's exactly right, Coleman. Got a great service department. Will Daly is our service manager, and he does a great job there. He's got a great team around him. And so, yeah, we can, we do have the express lane for oil changes, and no appointment necessary for that for light-duty gas vehicles.
All right, open Monday through Saturday, 8 a.m. to 7 p.m. The service department is, till 5?
Open till 5, yep.
Okay. Well, how about we see you next Monday?
I bet I'll be here.
Or I'll bet you will, too, if you're live and kicking. That's Billy Mullinax. He's general manager for Rocky Williams Premier Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram off Mount Juliet 600 Pleasant Grove Road. Well, Sheriff Robert Bryan joins us this morning. It's good to see the sheriff again. And, Sheriff, good morning.
Good morning, Coleman. How are you?
I'm doing well. Last time you didn't make it here and sent Lieutenant Scott Moore.
Right.
I think he used to be sergeant. He got a promotion not too long ago.
Yeah,
didn't
he did. And he does a good job filling in for me when I can't be here. So.
Well, Scott is really, I think, just a fine guy, and I appreciate him. And it's nice to have him here when you can't make it. Everything going pretty well?
Coleman, 2020 has been a wild one. You know, it's, we had the tornadoes and then this corona virus and all the stuff going around in the country right now that's going on. It's just keeps us on our toes.
This that happened in Nashville over the weekend, and Representative Lynn was talking about some agitators that have come in, and we're hearing some of that, and that's to me is one of the worst things to think that. If somebody wants to get out here and have a peaceful demonstration, they can't even do that because of agitators that come in to muddy the waters and mess everything up. But I guess my question to you this morning is, things been pretty peaceful here over the weekend?
We had some, first of all, let me say this, what happened in Minneapolis was, that was wrong. And I agree with Representative Lynn. It shouldn't happen. And that officer was wrong in what he did. And but in saying that, you're right. People's got the right to protest, and peaceful protest. I agree with it, especially over something like that. I mean, it's unheard of what happened in Minneapolis. But in saying that, we started seeing some rumblings on social media. We've been in contact with Lebanon and Mount Juliet. They was getting some rumblings on social media about people wanting to do the similar thing in Lebanon and Mount Juliet. We kept an eye on that, and really nobody really ever showed up to any of the places where they was trying to get people to organize. But then we saw what went on in Nashville, and it really got nasty down there.
Yeah.
And you're right. We actually, after we saw everything was pretty much clear here in this county, we actually sent about 20 personnel to Davidson County. Because that they was just overrun. It's Representative Lynn was right. We're getting word now that a lot of these people were bussed in here from other states, and the instigators, as you'd call them, it's just again what happened. It was wrong, but they don't give nobody a right to go out here and tear up people's properties, try to set it on fire, break windows out of the Metro Courthouse and set it afire. It's no call for that.
I saw that somehow I guess it might have been a security camera that captured this as a boot place, I think, down on Lower Broad, where somebody takes some kind of a pick or something and breaks out the bottom part of the glass door. He walks in, some more follow him in, and they just have their hands at the boots there. That is so awful.
And don't I mean, that takes away from the message. The message was, we're protesting what happened, but that turned the focus away from what did happen. So it's but like I said, here in Wilson County, we was pretty lucky. We had some people that was trying to get organized, but they never did.
Well, do you think maybe that by now the weekend gone, this is quiet down and for the most part is over, or
I think
at least here?
I think there's still some people out there trying to, as you call them, instigate things, and it's I can't say it won't happen. I hope it don't, but we got to be prepared if it does.
Are you prepared as far as the sheriff's department here?
We got personnel. Like when that started, pretty much. I know we put several people, personnel on standby when that started, and we was getting word that different things was going to happen. I know Lebanon put people on standby, and Mount Juliet did also. So it's if something happened here, it'd be a collaborative effort between all agencies, and I'm pretty sure we could handle it. And we train in different deals like that, where you know how to handle these protesters. And let me say something. Metro Police Department done a great job. Their hands is pretty much tied as far as the number of people. But they was able to control that crowd the best they could. And, they had some damage and different things like that. But when you have that many people, it's you got to do the best you can, and I think they did.
Well, I think it'd be pretty hard to prepare for totally unknown. I mean, had you even remotely anticipated something like this happened, you could have been better prepared. But to everything from the beginning, the people who were organizing this, from what I saw on TV and so on, they were talking about just having a peaceful protest. They were going to do what they were going to do. And everything would have probably been all right, and you wouldn't need the whole police department to do that.
And that's what happened. I mean, they did that. That's how it started in Nashville. It was a peaceful protest, and we're seeing that across the country. It starts out as a peaceful protest, but these instigators again come in after the fact and just stir people up, stir the pot. And when you got a crowd of people like that, and if they're up to no good, they're going to do no good. So.
Well, how do you deal with that? I mean, you can't really know ahead of time. I don't think you know who are the good guys and who are the bad guys in this.
And we saw that. You just sort of, it's more about presence than anything, and standing your ground pretty much. And that's what they did. You saw them line up all the way across in front of the courthouse and utilize different equipment, which we have too. And you got to have that stuff to sometimes disperse them type crowds once it gets a little rowdy. So, and that's what they did. But it's more about presence than anything.
All right, Sheriff Robert Bryan is here. It's time for us to take a break, and we'll do that right here. More with the Sheriff coming up on Coleman and Company, FM 98.9.
And it's now 7:46. Let's see what's happening on the roadways. Want to thank Absolute Kubota and Rental. Fully staffed service center and parts department. Most of their minor services can be done the same day. Servicing Exmark, Kubota, Land Pride, Red Max, and Billy Goat, 1325 West Main. Now at traffic, here's Chuck.
Well, good morning. The big story in traffic remains out here in Rutherford County as they continue to reroute traffic on 24 westbound onto 840 because of the serious wreck that happened earlier this morning just past 840 here on 24 going westbound. I'm still looking at it live. It is still a nightmare out here in this part of Rutherford County. Dickerson Pike and Rock Street, that wreck is in its clearing stages. It's time to have some summertime fun at Adventures Unlimited on the Ocoee River. Log on to adventuresunlimited.net. I'm Commander Chuck. You're on time traffic.
Gregory Dental in Lebanon is a family dental practice located across from University Medical Center. They offer cosmetic procedures, dental implant services, and now featuring new digital dentures. Premium dentures in just 2 appointments. No insurance, no problem. Call about our discount plan.
Hi, I'm Dr. Derek Gregory. In my office, you can count on a compassionate staff who will truly listen to you, take the time to get to know you, and discuss your personal needs. I look forward to meeting you.
Gregory Dental Group, 444-0322, West Medora Parkway across from Gibbs Pharmacy.
Calling all horse lovers. Do you need a new zero turn for your horse farm? Call Absolute Kubota today at 615-449-6171 and ask about their special equine discounts on Exmark mowers. Exmark picked 2-to-1 over any other brand. Step up to an Exmark at your farm or ranch today so you can get back to what you enjoy. Your horses. Call 615-449-6171 or stop by and see the team at Absolute Kubota at 1325 West Main Street in Lebanon. Exmark, ready to work for you.
Coleman and Company, welcome to our final segment here on Monday morning. Let me pass this word on. I got this information, I think, over the weekend concerning the Adult Learning Center's graduation. This comes from Sandra Anderson and says that after much thought, consideration, and discussion, we are proud to announce the Adult Learning Center's graduation ceremony will be held on Thursday, June 4th at 5 p.m. This will be an outdoor event in the parking lot at Hillcrest Baptist Church, 621 Hartsville Pike in Lebanon. Our students will be seated. However, their guests will remain in or next to their cars. The church will not be accessible. Therefore, no restrooms will be available. Also, please bring an umbrella in case of rain. There will be no alternate date in case of inclement weather. So they are going to have the adult graduation, but it's going to be a little bit different, and that Hillcrest Baptist Church parking lot. Just to pass that along, try to remind you again maybe a time or two this week if I don't forget it. Sheriff Robert Bryan is here. Sheriff, I want to change, as we say, change horses or whatever. We've talked enough about what's happened over the weekend here, but that's got to concern anybody in law enforcement, especially you as sheriff. But other things, life has to go on. We weren't affected, other than you said you sent 20 people as reinforcement. But it is budget time, and the county commission has some hard decisions to make, partly not knowing all about how our sales tax revenue is going to be, especially for the last couple of months. But as far as it relates to the sheriff's department and your part in your budget and so on, talk about that a little bit.
Pretty much, we started our budget process a few months ago, and actually, there's a meeting tonight of the budget committee to take all the department's budgets, status quo budgets, and we've submitted ours as well as everybody else, and I think they're going to take a wait and see approach. I hope they would pass a status quo budget and relook at things in a couple of months, see what tax dollars are coming in, and see what we need to do from there.
How is the status quo budget going to affect you? Are you going to have to cut back some, as this means, I guess, the same amount of money as last time? Is it appropriated very similarly?
Pretty much. We'll have the same budget numbers we had last year, this upcoming year. So nothing will change. We wouldn't add no personnel, no equipment, different things like that. We just have to hunker down and make it for a year. We're always needing personnel. We're always needing people, but right now is not the time to do that. We need to buckle down and. Well,
you don't seem to be raising your voice or saying this is going to be so difficult for us. You seem to be mildly accepting of it.
Well, everything this county's been through this over the past few months, it bothers me, but what are you supposed to do about it? We'll move on. We'll survive. This county will survive, and the status quo budget. We made it work for a year. We'll make it work for another year. So it's really part about everybody working together to do the best you can.
I think the last time you were here 2 months ago, approximately, we were talking about the jail, and I believe even at that time it wasn't as crowded. Some people had been released and so on, and part of this, I guess, had to do with the coronavirus and not wanting to. So far, have you done a pretty good job there? Nobody's got infected or very little.
As far as that, I'm afraid to say right now, but no, we don't. We've had some officers that there could have been, contact with people, but all of them last Tuesday, I had 5 officers go down. 5. 2 civil process people that are serving civil papers go in the house, had no clue, and they was exposed. I had 3 officers respond to a domestic call. After they got there, they found out the corona was in the house. So we have to pull them officers off the street, send them home, get them tested. So that's 5 people went down in one day.
And are they quarantined for 14 days? Or?
They've been tested. 3 of them's back because we found out a little different information as far as who had the corona and who didn't. Okay. But 3 of them's back. 2 of them still waiting some tests. But as far as what contact they had, it's probably. I hope they don't get it. But we got to take them precautions in case they did. So it's
I don't know how you used to run the jail, and I don't know how often you get the sentiment of the inmates or whatever. But I somehow am guessing that even those who are incarcerated have maybe had an idea to cooperate, and because I can't imagine them wanting this and wanting to get sick and maybe cooperating a little bit more than even normal, even though they're incarcerated, to make things go well.
We had, when this started, our numbers was way up, okay? Yeah. Yes, the numbers went down through this because the courts no court was going on. It sort of slacked off a little bit. But when this started, we had to cut out some stuff in the jail as far as visitation. We had to cut out all of our volunteers. We got slews, hundreds of people that come there, volunteers doing programs, church services, different things, adult education, everybody, you name it. We had to cut all that out. We had to limit the amount of people coming inside, our volunteers, different things like that, and the visitation, different things like that. But the main thing we've done is when all this started and we started to cut these, we went back and talked to inmates. We said, here, this is what's happening. We're trying to protect you. And pretty much they've done pretty good. I mean, you got your few idiots, but all in all, I mean, if you just keep them posted about what's going on and that they understand. The family members understand, but it's and you saw that all these prisons, the one in Hartsville and different ones, just hundreds and hundreds of cases inside, and that's the scary part. Let one case get in, it could spread.
But so far, so good.
So far, so good. But we had to implement some different ideas as far as when somebody comes into the facility or somebody's been arrested. We pretty much have to quarantine them a little bit for 10 to 14 days. And the numbers dropping allowed us to have that room to do that. But in saying that, we're starting to see the numbers crawl back up. And once this gets wide open, it's going to be a tsunami. Them numbers are going to jump high because we're backdated on all the courts. It's going to catch up to us, and we're going to see that jail crowded again.
All right, that lends me to come. You had plans for and been working on and hoping appropriation for a new jail or an addition, not a new jail, but part of it would be new, of course, the new addition. What about that? Has that been totally put on hold, or
we're still discussing right now? It's not totally put on hold. We're just trying to get through this bump in the road we're in right now until we start moving forward with that. There's been money, a funding mechanism approved for that. We're just right now it's not the time, but there's going to be a time here in the near future where we need to bring it back up. We've got the architectural drawings and the plans ready to put it out for bid again, and at some point here in the near future, I hope we do that.
Anything else on your mind this morning? We got about 4 minutes left here, and I won't say I've run out of questions, but if you got something you want that I hadn't mentioned, go ahead.
There's a couple of things that with this coronavirus going on, as far as the courts in the county, the courts, all the general sessions, criminal court, different things are overseen by the state Supreme Court, and they tell us what we cannot do as it relates to letting people in the building, holding court, different things like that. So at one point, I mean, over the past several weeks, it's just they've been handling the people that were incarcerated that's awaiting their court dates. And that's pretty much what they've been handling. And Judge Kane, he's the presiding judge here in the county, and he's done a great job trying to keep up with all 5 counties and trying to make this work the best way we can. But the Supreme Court is slowly opening more and more. They're doing outside cases now. I think they started a week or two ago at a limited number. They're 10 cases at a time, only 10 people come in the building. And I see you're gonna see that opening more here in the next few weeks. I would say it's shut down. The Supreme Court also shut down pretty much all the evictions and different things like that we're responsible for serving and getting people out of rental houses, different things like that. But at June 1st today, that's going to open back up, and we've got a lot of processes got behind, and we'll play catch up. And I get calls daily from these people who own these rental houses, and people's not paying their rent, but our hands was tied. The courts we couldn't serve them up till today, and I just want to let everybody know we will start serving them today, and we'll get that back up and running and try to help these property owners out.
Mm-hmm. You said a couple of things. Was that was one, right?
Yeah, that was 2. I don't know, but It's but as far as these courts, they're coming in. We're having to take their temperature and we have to go through that whole process. But it's more of a scheduling nightmare than anything. But we're working well with the judges and the clerks, and we're making it happen.
Well, no doubt, you like all the rest. I mean, you want to be careful. We don't want to have an outbreak here. At the same time, why can't it be like it used to be?
What is the normal going to be? I don't know. It's but yeah, it's been a trying time for everybody. And we'll just do the best we can.
Well, you feel like your people have made the best, done pretty much the best they could in all of this.
Yeah, and I always worry about my people. They say you're out there on the front line. Well, they're on the front line here, and it's I feel for them having to be out there taking these people's temperatures and it's just, and walking into these houses, they don't know what they're walking into. Okay, right. You're always worried about your safety when you walk in on the call for domestics, different things like that. And then you got something else to worry about. These people got corona.
And I was even talking to a doctor the other day, and I said, "Well, when you discover somebody that has this, what?" He says, "Well, it scares us to death."
What are you supposed to do? I mean, you're already there,
right? And so immediately you start thinking quarantine, all this, the whole 9 yards, and then hoping that you don't get it.
That's right, and you take every precaution you can, but again, we go back. There's a lot of unknowns of what you're walking into, and you got to worry about your safety first, and you got to worry about corona, and you got to worry about somebody hurting you, and it's just builds up. More you got to worry about.
Sheriff Robert Bryan, thanks for being with us today. We'll see you next month.
That's right. Thank you.
Okay, that is it for a Monday. Hope you'll join us tomorrow. Till then, I wish you a magnificent day.